Alright, so continuing our legacy of making easy keto recipes, we try to make an amazing low-carb keto chocolate. Now this is going to be full of nuts. That's basically something that has been the savior for me while doing keto. I'll be using some hazelnuts. These are roasted hazelnuts that I bought at Trader Joe's in United States. These are walnuts. If you are in Vancouver, there is a tip for you. You can find cheapest walnuts at Persia Foods. They have shops all across. I buy these $3 a pound, $3 Canadian dollars a pound, and then we have the pepita seeds. On top of that, I'll add some almond butter. Again, it's just optional. If you want to add almond butter, go for it. It's generally like very low in carbs. You can see that 2 tablespoons have 6 grams of carb, out of which 1 is fiber, which means 5 gram net carb. We are not gonna use 2 tablespoons. We'll most likely be using just 1 tablespoon. Similarly, peanut butter, that comes in very handy. I generally just look at the ingredients. I look for the peanuts. I look for the peanut butters that do not have any extra sugar added to them. So this is just pure dry roasted peanuts. And for these, you have around 2 grams of net carbs per tablespoon. So that's basically another thing that adds a lot of flavor. My favorite cocoa powder is basically the Hershey's cocoa powder, and that has really low, like it's just 1 gram net carb per tablespoon. So that's basically something that can add a lot of flavor. In addition to that, I have erythritol, which is the powder erythritol that I always use. I've powdered it myself. Then I have some coconut oil, some vanilla essence. That's our ingredients. I sometimes put roasted almonds in it as well. I don't have those, and sometimes when I'm really in the mood for dirty keto, I add some raisins to it as well, but very limited, because of course raisins can add sugar quite a bit. So avoid doing that. But if you really have a sweet tooth, I normally chop raisins and add just a small, like maybe 1 teaspoon of raisins to my recipes as well. So alright, let's get to cooking. Alright, the recipe in itself is quite straightforward. You simply need a double broiler. So basically you cannot cook the chocolate on direct heat. So I have some water boiling in the bottom, and then I'll be making all the mixture in this pot. So this is, I think it's not gonna take us more than 2 minutes to prepare everything. I'll start off with some coconut flour. Come on. Yeah, about 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. Coconut oil. Why am I calling it flour? Okay, let's make it 2.5. While the butter is melting, I'm gonna add 1 block of chocolate. So I'm just using 1 of the blocks. I had 3, but of course, if you want to make more, you can make more. I'm just using 1 block of chocolate, which means around 100 grams of chocolate. Of course, you can use other keto-friendly chocolates as well, the dark chocolates. That's completely up to you. But for me, I've used this one and it goes really well. You can see that my chocolate has started melting already and started mixing with the butter, with the coconut oil. So now the whole purpose of going through this process is to add some artificial sweeteners. That's the idea. Like, I don't want to buy expensive keto chocolates from outside. I want to make them at home, so that they become a bit more cost effective and I know exactly what's going into the products. So that's the only thing that you need to do. Alright, for sweetening our chocolate, because that's the basic ingredient that makes it different from the store-bought expensive chocolates. You have a 90% dark chocolate and now you want to sweeten it. So you add some ground erythritol. Now I've used crystallized erythritol as well, the monk fruit sweetener. But what it does is that it, when I add my nuts to this, not my nuts, the hazelnuts to this, if I've used crystallized or the grainy sweetener to this, that creates a coat around the nuts. Like I used it with hazelnuts, and the hazelnuts become crunchy, but it becomes like it's as if like there is sugar coat on this, which is something that I didn't like. I tried it once, didn't like it. So since then I use just the ground sweetener. And now you can see that because of the double broil, the chocolate is melting at a very slow pace, right? We don't want to burn the chocolate. We want it to have all the goodness of the chocolate. So I will add 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, and let's say almost 3 tablespoons of ground erythritol. Now I'm making this one a little bit sweeter than usual. Normally I don't. Normally I would put around 1.5 tablespoons, but somehow today I feel like having a sweet chocolate. So this is again one of those things that you can tinker with. You can see what keep in mind that erythritol is something that it will add that little bit of aftertaste to your recipe. That's something that you have to be mindful of. So that's why if you don't like too much of aftertaste, use lesser amount. But I don't mind. I've gotten used to that aftertaste. Okay, my erythritol had a bit of lumps. Those lumps have started showing in this, so I need to now, before my next step, I need to make sure that I get rid of all lumps. At this point, my coconut oil, chocolate, and the sugar have all been dissolved quite well, and that's pretty much what I was looking for. Now you can just start adding nuts. Again, based on your own choice. I'm using some pepita seeds, not too much, around 1 tablespoon. I'm gonna crush in some walnuts. And I'm gonna add like a few hazelnuts. I love hazelnuts with dark chocolate. That's like one of my most favorite things. And as I mentioned earlier, for hazelnuts, the best place is Trader Joe's in the United States. They have amazing deals on hazelnut. I'm not getting any sponsorship or anything. I'm just giving you tips of where to buy nice cheap stuff. That's it. That's my chocolate. That's ready. Now, oh yeah, okay, I've changed my mind about not adding too much sugar, so this is completely up to you. If you want to do it, otherwise avoid it. This is now chopped raisins, 6 in total, chopped raisins. I like when you get this bite of nuts and raisins somewhere, so that's. I need to add my butters to it, the peanut butter and almond butter, but if I add it here, it will melt. I like it as a swirl, so I will add it after I've plated my. Actually, the almond butter we can add because that's a little bit on the harder end. My peanut butter is very soft, so if I add it, it will completely dissolve. So I will add that when I'm plating. This is 1 tablespoon of almond butter. That's again around 2 grams net carbs. I'll let it soften up a little bit, not mix it. I don't want it to get dissolved completely. And I can remove my pot from the stove, like the cooking is done. Next step is very straightforward. You just need to transfer your chocolate to a flat dish where you will freeze it, and it will become an amazing keto chocolate. Let's bring all the goodness here. That's it. I've already given it a taste test just to see if the sugar was good, and it was actually pretty decent amount of sugar. Like if even if you don't like it to be too sweet, I think it's still good. You don't have to add more, you don't have to add less. Scrape in whatever you can because you don't want to waste this goodness. That's the lump of my almond butter which hasn't dissolved. Now I will, while it's still a bit hot, I will add in my peanut butter as well, because I like having a swirl of peanut butter to this. Alright, that's a heaped tablespoon of peanut butter. Again, completely optional step. If you don't want to add these carbs, you don't have to. But I will make it into small pieces and I'll eat it over the next week or so. So as a result, I don't mind adding these extra carb. I just need to portion it accordingly as well. Make sure to spread the nuts evenly, because again, at the end of the day, you're going to divide it into smaller bars, and that's where I like having an equal or even proportion of nuts to chocolate ratio. So that's why, if the nuts are clustering in a particular place, just move them around. I think at this point it's ready to go to the fridge. We've got everything in. If you want to sprinkle it with some more seeds, you can. I like seeing that, so I'm gonna just do a little bit of seeds. But I think I've already got enough nuts and seeds in it, so I don't need to add anything further to this. Now we just need to give it time to cool down and harden up, so I'll see you in maybe an hour. Alright, that's basically it. Now it's been in the freezer for about 30 minutes and it's frozen up. Everything's now, you can easily take off the baking paper, and now that's basically your chocolate. So now you can slice it up and or just break it into smaller pieces, whatever way you prefer. I generally, just for portion control, I try to slice it evenly. So here you can see the peanut butter, almond butter mixed in with some of the nuts and the ultimate goodness. So I'm 100% sure when you make this recipe, you're gonna love it and you're gonna enjoy it. So have some fun with it.